field. Now it's all in play. Glory's call in the all-star fray. 12 dreams clash. It's the league showcase. Glory's chase. Feel the ground shake. You stand tall. Never fear the climb. All for one, and it's game time. In the stands, hear the roaring crowds. Wearing colors, we're standing proud. 12 teams fight under the spotlight's rays. Glory's night in the all-star blaze. Sweat and toil on this hallowed turf, one will rise.
Little BY, can everybody just confirm that you can hear me? I done a lovely little opening monologue there about where we were in terms of the league, and I don't think I was actually added to the StreamYard as an input. There we go, Steve. Right. So let me just hop back and repeat all of that again. Apologies for those of you that were staring at a bit of a screen. And what I thought would be interesting to do tonight, we are at the business end of the All Stars. Thank you very much for joining us. And essentially, we are in a position where roughly we have about 6 or 7 game weeks left, and the league is starting to come to a conclusion. On that note, we have the Eastern Conference that really is strongly representing their division and conference, with 3 of the top 4 teams coming from that Eastern patch, topped by the Bisons on 59 points and followed by the Vikings on 53 points. A couple of game weeks ago, Tato was very much saying he was struggling to shake off the Vikings, but there is a bit of a gap opening tonight. The Bisons are the only team who don't play in the league who aren't in the cup tonight. So they are essentially the kind of 5th fixture that doesn't happen. And they will therefore have 2 games in hand on the Vikings. So pressure on the Vikings tonight to get the win against the Memphis Reigns. I believe they're playing. Next up is Pelham Pumas. Dimble has done what he usually does in competitive champion, is just built a really solid and effective 11 and deep squad, and they play the Dandies tonight in the semi-final of the Cup. In fourth, the Detroit Drivetrain. Savage is probably playing one of the more unique formations in the league, the 3 up top with the 2 backward arrows, and it really has worked for him since switching from about 8 game weeks ago. Steam Pigs, the rampant Steam Pigs in the first half of the season, and they have tailed off, namely because of a dip off in form from Elbert and an injury to Shevchenko, a fairly significant injury to Shevchenko that has hampered their progress over the last few weeks. The Des Moines Demons, if you've watched over the last couple of weeks, you'll probably be surprised to see them in the heady heights of 6th. Mega Horse is scratching around for some form at the minute, but does have a bit of an opportunity to kind of get going again tonight. Then the Dandies, who did look dead and buried at one point, but have actually been fantastic over the last 8 to 9 game weeks. I think I need to stream less, because the streams that I haven't been part of are streams. The Dandies have been brilliant. And then the Blackwater Gators, Kitchen Dan definitely is one of those managers that aren't happy with his first 11 and really doesn't know his first 11 at this stage. I think it's fair to say, but he is hanging on. And just so we're all aware, anybody underneath the dotted line will not qualify for the playoffs, which are a best of 3. Alcatraz, El Local Fire, and Short Pump Slots, all within touching distance of each other, but do need to find some form and find it quick. Memphis Reigns have been out of it for most of the season for non-footballing reasons, and Rocks will try to turn that round at some stage. So we do have the Cup tonight, which will see Pelham against Dandies, Drivetrain against Seattle, who are the only AI side left standing. And we will also see a round of league fixtures, and it is in the league that we're going to start tonight. The Memphis Reigns against the Vikings, Alcatraz against their local Fire, Des Moines Demons against the Steam Pigs, and Short Pump Slots against the Gators. Now, there are a couple of people that are kind of spinning plates in terms of family and stuff. So we will start with 2 people that I can see in the chat. We will start with the Mega Horse and also the ball sack in the Des Moines Demons against the Steam Pigs. So this is how we go with the Des Moines Demons 1-8-1. Very, very recognisable now and very, very familiar. Has played it for a number of game weeks, but it is a really, really patchy run of form, and they do need to find some form pretty quickly. Paredes in for Walker was the only change that they made to their previous 11. Over to the Steam Pigs, who do change things around ever so slightly. Totti plays up front on the left-hand side. He has been disappointing since he came in. In fact, he probably has been disappointing for the vast majority of the season. Can I have Kamuna down on a free for the next of the season? Even transfers are going off after the transfer window is just closed. I love it. But everything else in the everything else, Scotty, I'll just show you what I loaded in for you, mate. Right, based on your instructions, which was load me 271, go back to the last win information. That's as close as I could get to your 3-0 win. Couple of suspensions. So Van Bronckhorst obviously suspended. So just have a little look at that and see what you're unhappy with there, and then you can tweak it if you want to just pause it ever so slightly. I will have your game as late as possible, mate, as late as I possibly can. But back over to what were the free scoring Steam Pigs, who have just tailed off ever so slightly. After a rampant start of the season where they were top scorers. As I say, the injury to Shevchenko and a tail off in form from Elbert, even though he's still got 17 and 24, is pretty impressive. So we do go over to our first game of the evening. Steam Pigs looking to really solidify their kind of top 5, top 6 status and push for potentially top 3. And the Des Moines Demons really needing a win to not to get sucked into the wider battle. Yeah, Scott, I'll do the best I can to load it up and spin some plates, mate. I don't see any issue with it. You just have to forgive us if there's any mistakes, because I'll be looking at basically 3 windows at once, as well as trying to keep people entertained. So yeah, I'll do my best, mate, and I'll load it in. Sigalko, and there is Totti. He's been played as a left-hand striker, and he has put his team all square going into half-time. 49 minutes played. George Atos into the yellow card book. Sigalko and Totti, it is the double T's that do it. A pretty 50-50 game in terms of the text, and a pretty 50-50 game in terms of the stats. We'll go over to the away side first. Not bad from Steve, taking his chances when they come. Totti has been definitely in amongst it there in that forward left position. Bit of an inspired call. Wasn't expecting that in terms of his submission. But I do think sometimes with those big players, you do have to really innovate when they aren't performing a la Aymar, Zidane, that sort of stuff. Over to the Des Moines Demons, we have Yepes into the books, 7s and 6s with only the 1-8 from Wilfred Bauma. Steve goes to leave it as is, and really just not much passing or not much contact on the ball going on for the Des Moines Demons there, compared to their Steam Pig counterparts that have had a little bit more of the ball in terms of passes, and certainly in that final third they look to have had a little bit more threatening of the chances. And Savage's submissions just came in there as well. Okay, lovely. Played at 60, both boys going to 60. We will go to 60 and we will see if any team can put themselves. And we jump to 62 minutes. Toldo catches it. Yepes clears it on that booking, but does do his job. 6s at the back, but actually that midfield and those wing backs, that middle line that is so important to the Steam Pigs, is performing pretty well there. But again, another quiet game for Albert. That might just be a little bit of a concern. Gustavo Lopez and AMC really hasn't done much there. Evening Rocks, mate. Hope you're well, my man. Yeah, I thought it might have just been you hadn't pressed. Is that a Georgia pen? Says Rocks. Is that going to be 2-0? Wow, wowza, brilliant. I am all for some Ronaldo tears. Over to the Des Moines Demons. We have 8s, 6s, and 7s. So really, both teams and both 11s telling us that neither side is in the greatest of form at this moment in time. Who will blink first in terms of the manager? And it is Steve Wright who has made a change. It is Franca for Gus Lopez, and that's it. I think that's a really measured and sensible sub. If people can keep me up to date with the Georgia pen, that'd be great, because I'm not watching. We go over to the Demons. I think we might see a little push of Bauma further up the pitch, potentially. Louis Enrique maybe coming on for Recoba. We'll see what the horse wants to do. Next game week after tonight will be Sunday. There'll be no transfers to process, so I'll spend the 10-15 minutes after the game to do the pack straight away, which will hopefully be of use to everybody. And Horsey, if you can just let me know what you want to do here, mate, please. There we go. Extra Berea off for... Oh, cancel that. Extra Berea off for Teneto. Swap with Marcelino Carioca. Luis Enrique for Recoba. So Extra Berea off for Teneto and swap Marcelino on the right wing. Luis Enrique, brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Horsey. Appreciate that, mate. And we will see what we're going to have in terms of a winner. Marcelino Carioca in there from the right-hand side. Bauma, and there is Maxim Sigalko. Has he found his form at the right end of the season? I'm guessing that's a 2-0 Georgia. Free kick there for the Des Moines, and it's a hat-trick. It is a hat-trick for Sigalko. And the Des Moines Demons, when their season just looked in a little bit of jeopardy, have actually turned up with a hell of a performance there. They were nowhere near that level at half-time. Bauma converts to a 9. Ibrahim Saeed with an 8. Maxim Sigalko, 3 goals and assists spread across the team. Really was a dominant second-half performance that looked unlikely given the stalemate at half time. Over at the Steam Pigs, whose ratings aren't that bad, other than Sebastian Frey, who seems to have had jelly for hands and lets in 3 goals there. Steam Pigs just scratching about for a little bit of form at the back end of the season. We have the Sloths v the Gators. I don't think we're going to have either manager, so we will just kind of rattle through this. Sloths just make one change with Brugink in for Saha on that FLR. And we go over to the Gators, who just make a slight change in that. Interestingly, Aita Karanka comes in at centre half instead of Rio Ferdinand, who is probably oh, there we go. Brilliant, fantastic, Dan. Excellent. We're going to go with your game now, mate. Just about to say that Ferdinand is probably testing the patience a little bit with Dan, as he has done for most managers in the past. And we kick off. This really is probably not necessarily a must win for Gators, but you would really worry about them being sucked into that bottom floor basement of the 4 teams below the line. And there is Guerrero. Or the short pump Sloth's going to make a late change, but Riquelme has something to do about it with his first goal for the Gators. George Acosta, and as Riquelme's career across competitive champ has been, it is spits and starts, and he gets the goal, looks fantastic, and then actually gets injured before we even get to the half-hour mark. So we will see what Dan wants to do there. Benitez, yeah, pretty standard substitution there as well. Let's just have a little look at half an hour-ish. There we go. And we will keep going on. Karanka involved there. And there is Anelka, just as Jens questions the 72% fitness from Nico Anelka. Big Dick Nick has turned this around for the Gator side. Free kick to the short pump Sloths. Gattuso, Del Piera having to resist a little bit of pressure now for the Gators. Can the short pump Sloths get back into this? And it is Mike Duff on the rebound. Bang on the stroke of half time. It did feel as though it was coming. And what a first half that is from the 2 boys. We will go to the Gators first of all. Aida Karanka on a 5. Potentially making his manager regret that decision to put him in over Ferdinand. I think it's highly likely we're going to see Ferdinand at the half-time mark. Kili Gonzalez on a bookie, but other than that, fairly solid. And they have scored 2 goals away from home, with Anelka starting to find his shooting boots with a 100% conversion rate tonight, but he is on 75% fitness, as Jens has pointed out. Over at the Sloths, nothing really standing out in terms of poor performances. Mike Duff and Julian Guerrero both on 8s, and both having chances and taking them. Predictably there, Dan is in there with the Rio Ferdinand change at halftime. Over at the Sloths, Rob, got to let us know how Foo Fighters were, mate. Seen them a couple of times, seen them about 4 or 5 times now, and they're absolutely phenomenal. Love them, one of my favourite bands. Was very jealous of you going to see them. Let me know how it was. 45 minutes played. Rob Sloth goes as is, and we have that one change from the Gators as they look to shore things up from the back. And it is a lot of Sloth's pressure for the start of the second half. It is Salas and Ziraberto connecting. More Sloth's pressure. 56 minutes played. Are they going to get the goal now? Julian Guerrero involved in there. Saviola could have had a sucker punch and could have. And Munitis then again. Wow. This is an end-to-end game, and ratings have improved for the Gators since half-time. Munitis very much involved in terms of the text, and his 8 mark is reflected as a result. Excuse me, boys. Big yawn that. Over the short pump Sloths, 7s and 8s and 6s. Mike Duff and Julian Guerrero in the goals, and George Costa still on the yellow card. We'll see what Rob wants to do, but certainly did feel as though Rob Sloth was absolutely on top there with the pressure. It is a great game. It is a really good game. You'd maybe wonder whether would you bring Kesman on? Maybe 3 up top on 60, 2 central kids with Guerrero on a. Hang on, you're still pissed, Rob. 3 up top on 60, 2 central kids with Guerrero on a short forward arrow right diagonal. Short forward arrow. So that Rob? Is that what you're saying? On a short forward going to the right diagonal. Guerrero looks right, Ferguson looks right. It's just your 3 up top. Just let us know you're happy with those three up top. Would that be putting brilliant? Would that be putting Portugal out? That put Portugal out? No, it wouldn't. That will do. Lovely, excellent. And Dan goes as is, so it's 2-2. Desmond, who will get the winner? Your kind of money would be on Sloss based on the text, but then your money would also be on Sloss losing because of Sloss being Sloss, and they are at their worst when they're at their best, really. And Alga can't keep it down. Could have won it there. Hell of a lot of pressure from the Gators here since Rob went 3 up top. Is it going to pay off? Manitas' name being mentioned. Del Piero, and we're at 90 minutes, and of course we will go to extra time with almost a 50-50 stalemate on the stats. Really, really entertaining game. Best game of the night so far. This probably will take some beating, being a Desmond and all the right players being involved. Mike Duff up to a 9. Gators are in there before they've even seen their stats. Did feel as though there was a bit of pressure towards the end there with a play on. And Scott Sadler is cheering on the Sloss because that chase and pack in the rest of the league table. So that chase and pack definitely wanting the Blackwater Gators to be pulled down below that dotted line. So Sloss would very much do the rest of the teams around them a favour if they were to get the points here tonight. Kesman on for Brugging. I think that's a really, really solid substitution, that, Rob. I do not rate Brugging as a striker at all, but Kesman is a little bit mercurial and can do bits. We have down with a play on, and remember that is the last point at which managers can make changes unless there is a red card. Saviola, terrible effort. We get to half time with only the one shot from Saviola, nothing much else happening, and we will see if there's any sucker punch going to be landed. Ziraberto, and there's Del Piero. Del Piero gets his 5th goal of the season with a Ziraberto assist, and short pump Sloss have just pulled the Gators into a little bit more jeopardy. Short pump Sloss will jump up to 29 points now, within 4 points of the Blackwater Gators, and actually do leapfrog the local Fire, who were cheering them on. It is all systems go for the Sloths with a brilliant, brilliant extra time win in typical Sloths fashion. It never looks easy, and again, the Gators are just looking over their shoulder ever so slightly. Yeah, and Rob Sloth is absolutely bang on. He says, "Sorry, Dan, but I really needed that," and indeed he does, and that does put a bit of pressure on all of the teams at the bottom end there. That was a quality game, lads. Appreciate the entertainment. Over now to the Memphis Reigns against the Vikings. This is an opposition tale of the tape. We have the Vikings, who are second and have looked absolutely comprehensive all season, and the ever experimental Memphis Reigns, who really have struggled, and we'll see if they can pull off a shock, a bit of a coupon buster tonight if it happens. Over to the Alaska Vikings, they only make one change, which is that Yapstam comes back in for Ronnie Johnson, and Ronnie Johnson takes Matthew Holland's place on the bench. And we will kick off. And again, we would really be thinking that this would be a bit of a coupon buster if the Memphis Reigns were to win. But Tato will definitely be hoping that Memphis Reigns. Oh, and that is a massive injury 5 minutes in at this end of the season. And Jens is a guy that has had a key stages of competitive champ. Jens is a manager who has been somewhat cursed by big injuries and suspensions. And you'd kind of hope that maybe this injury comes now and shifts for the playoffs, but we will see. Straight swap to Zidane, swap with Veron, and we will roll 5 minutes in. Remember that if the Vikings were to drop points here, it would mean that the Bisons were 6 points ahead of them at the top with 2 games in hand. Bisons are the only team not to play tonight in either cup or league because of how the fixtures have panned out. So they are very much looking to cement that top place position over the next couple of game weeks. We get to half time, and Steve Wright is already trying to chat about Patrick Vieira for next season. Vikings have really offered nothing in terms of opportunities, and the Memphis Reigns do look like the better team from front to back with this ever experimental formation. Oh, excuse me, long day, boys. Over to the Vikings, we have just the 1-9 to stand out. Big Marcel, who is ever consistent and ever solid, but actually a lot to think about around the other areas of the pitch for Jens. Let us know what you want to do there, boys, in terms of any changes. And yeah, Rocks goes as is. We'll just have a little look at the Vikings. Jens is not really one for massive half-time changes, but that was pretty poor for them. potentially 2 AMCs behind 1 MC. Yes, Dimble. It sounds as though I am. Well, Dimble, I think I'm working from home tomorrow, mate. So basically, because of my commute, it kind of buys us an extra hour. Well, an extra hour and a half, really. So I can make that time up, mate. I can make that time up. Don't you worry about that. You just tell me the time and place, and we'll dance. Over to Vikings changes, Jens, mate. If you could just let me know what you want to do. Guessing by the slight delay, there may be comprehensive changes coming. And just while we stall for Jens, there is a reminder of where we're at in terms of the jeopardy of the league. And I'm just going to hop onto the email while we wait to get Scott's tactic file. I haven't seen anything from Jens. Jens, I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds, mate, and then I'm going to roll. Unless anybody can see it. And I just can't. It hasn't come through, Jens. It hasn't come through, mate. The last comment I've got from you is Zidane swap with Veron. Move Petkov up central AMC. Central Desai, keep arrow on Zidane. Okay, mate, I'll just give you a couple of seconds just to let me know that that's grand. I've been bumfucked a couple of times by YouTube not posting me comments on various different streams, so I'll just give you a couple of seconds there just to let me know that that is the case. Just give us a nod and a done or a yes, Jens, please, mate. Thank you very much, Rox. That is very well pointed out. Yeah, Jens, you have a remarkable way of making even the most innocent English sound very passive aggressive. But I imagine that I would probably be the same if I was typing in Norwegian as well. We will go to 60 minutes. It is an as is, as a reminder from Rox. Thank you, everyone else, for your patience there. And we jump straight away to 58 minutes. Vieri with a half a chance. Orca now involved on the left-hand side. And there is a chance for Vikings that isn't put in at the back of the net. We do go over to the Vikings again. Not much offered there other than the one chance. Condition-wise, everyone else looks fine. But the ratings really haven't shifted. And Zidane now has been on the pitch for about 60 minutes and really isn't offering anything other than just the bare minimum. Over at the Memphis Reigns, their performances do look slightly better in terms of those sevens at the back, but probably struggling just at that creative end of the pitch. Pablo Aimar has been really shit for everybody, this iteration really, or this build or this save, however you want to describe it. And in terms of condition-wise, nothing really to worry about, just a couple of mid 84s. And it is Jens who blinks first. Zidane for the sub has been subbed. It's Zidane for Tristan. 2 up top. Centralise the 2 MCs. That is it. And if for those of you that remember, this was the oft changed in play formation that Jens would go to in Super League when he did that unbelievable run and probably should have won it. For a Cannavaro and who was the other one? Cannavaro and Stamp, was it? Who were both injured or both suspended? Sorry, in the final against Greavesy. Probably wasn't Sam. Yeah, Stamp. Jensel correct us. Farias for Aimar and Valtellina for Solis. And there is Rocks. Oh, it was a Clompe and Cannavaro, wasn't it? Was it Clompe and Cannavaro? And we will roll to full time with the Vikings really searching for, yeah, I thought it was, mate. The Vikings really searching for a win to keep them in touch of finishing top of the league. And there is Roy Mackay. The Vikings do what they've done all season, which is win and grind out results. Mike Savage made the point a couple of weeks back that they grind out results when they're not great. And there is Smuch. Cannot do that, cannot pronounce that. And it is the end of 90 minutes. And just when the Vikings look to be pulling away and robbing one, just like they did against Drivetrain a couple of weeks back, they actually keep themselves, the Memphis Reigns pull themselves back into the game. Get a less fucked class. Just show you where you're at there, Roxy. And if you decide what you want to do there, bud, conditions-wise, he looked absolutely fine. A couple of 81s and 79 for Arga, but he's a bit of a tank down that left-hand side. Rocks does move really, really quick with an Ortega for Valtellina. Again, subbing the sub. And Tristan has been more impactful for Zidane, despite only having been on for 30-odd minutes, or 20-odd minutes, really. So we will go to Memphis first. So Ortega for Valtellina. And we'll just see what the Vikings want to do. Savage, if you could be on standby, my man, I am going to probably do your game next, but I will have to just check the Twitter DMs. A roll from Jens. Just check I've done the sub. Yeah, sub the sub for Rocks. And that is their last changes as we roll for a winner. Free kick awarded, 97 minutes played, 98 minutes played. Roy Mackay could have won it there, but puts it wide. And it is the 2 goal scorers that are being mentioned a hell of a lot off the bar. And did that, not the port, not up here. I don't know if that was a bar and a save. But Vikings having 5 shots in 15 minutes when they only had 4 across the whole of the 90. We get to half time and extra time, and we will roll on. Fine save from the Memphis Reigns keeper, and we do get a rare draw, which probably isn't of use for either team. But you know, really good, entertaining 1-1, and that injury for Patrick Vieira, the headline probably from that match, with a Harry Keel man of the match. Over to the Vikings, nothing higher than an 8, and a couple of bookings there, which probably is a bit of a concern going into the playoffs. I know for the Dandies, the Yeremies and Keane yellow cards are now starting to really build up. In terms of the bookings, right? I can't do you next, Savage, because it wants us to play the league game before the cup. So if you can just bear with us, boys, while I do a little bit of jiggery pokery and get Scotty's team just in the emails now. And just in the interest of full transparency, as soon as I gave people a nudge this afternoon, the people that hadn't submitted had absolutely genuine reasons as to why. Well, that's Alcatraz. Genuine reasons as to why they hadn't. So I am extending a little bit of one up off courtesy by loading people's teams in as we go. And I hope you can understand that. So we've loaded in the tactic. That's clear. He's 11. Need to jump back onto WhatsApp. How many games till playoffs ends? I'll just show you, mate. So that's essentially tonight's fixtures. 1 full week, then the catch-up week. So essentially that week is that week. So 2 game weeks, 3 streams if we don't do anything special. 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 in total, but actually we probably can squeeze that and that into a quick fire bonus at some point. So, you know, in an ideal world, 5, realistically, probably 7 streams worth of 7 streams worth of games, really. Right, where you at, Scotty boy? Right, boys, if you just appreciate your patience here for a second. So David Day, and we've got Rustico and a one at the back, and we've got Liam Pure, and we've got Stevie G on the DMC/R, and then we've got Milevsky, Central DMC, and the Vart, D'Alessandro, and Kaka as MCs, and then we've got a 3 up top with Mido, who did do bits for Savage's Red Rose Stanley side, I think, if I remember, Vituga and Cabello, and then his subs are Torres, Alan Smith, 2 strikers on the bench, and Carlos Jacques is interesting. He's fucking going for it. He needs to. Andre and Igor Tudor. And I think, Scotty, your captain is going to be Stevie G. And if you could just give that a once glance. Oh, no, hang on. That looks perfect, I think. If you can just confirm that for me, my man. I don't think that was bad getting that loaded in and checked. So if you could just give us the nudge, mate, and we'll go over to Alcatraz, who are in as well. All right, Scotty, I'm going to go with that, mate. I cannot see the confirmation, and I've checked that a couple of times. Any mistakes, I'm sure you'll forgive us. Over to the Alcatraz, who, brilliant, cheers, Scott, mate, who do make the one change with Martin Keown coming in for the suspended Lucio. And we kick off again. These are two teams at that bottom end of the table. A win would be massive for our local fire, given that Gators have lost as they chase for that last position, and it is the Andreas de Alessandro. And I suppose it's in the interest of transparency, it's only fair that I let you know that Hopkins was also late with his submission, and Keown for Lucio was done with about 2 minutes before the stream. So neither manager can really grumble at the other, having that courtesy extended. 21 minutes played, clips the post. Nedved, who has been mercurial for Alcatraz, and really a highlight. Oh, and there is Cabello. This newly found all-out balls deep attack of our local fire is creating a hell of a lot of chances and is 2-1 up against the early best defence in the league, but that has faded somewhat as we get to half time. And the local fire did look really, really on top in terms of the attacking potency that they did have. Again, with some very young players in there, but they are 2-1 up, and this would be a massive, massive 3 points for them. Over to the Alcatraz, 6s and 7s and 8s, really. But again, at the top end of the pitch, Pippo, Nedved, Nicky Ferenko, Davy Collins, not really doing what they need to do to get the Alcatraz into a position where they're winning games. Hopkins isn't with us tonight. Scotty goes roll, so we will roll. As Davy Collins is mentioned there, free kick to Alcatraz. A lot of content text for the Alcatraz with Davy Collins with a couple of chances there, but don't put the ball in the back of the net. 55 minutes played, Nicky Ferenko then puts it wide. Inzaghi then puts it wide. Nedved goes into the book. We'll just jump over to the Alcatraz and just check that there's no conditional issues. Nothing there to make changes on Hopkins' behalf based on his instructions. And over at the local fire, who were under a little bit of pressure there since the half-time whistle. Condition-wise, nothing to worry about. And performances-wise, all looks fairly solid, but you probably do think that with that one at the back and with those bookings, they maybe do need an additional goal to put them 2 goals ahead. At what point does Ronaldo start throwing his toys out of the pram in that game and kicking off? So if Turkey or the Czech Republic were to score, if Turkey was to score, they would finish top. What a result that is for Georgia, Christ. Scotty saying roll on 63. And there is a free kick to the local fire, 66 minutes played. They are coming back into this now, another booking. I think that's 7 bookings we've now had in this game. Lee Young Pure with a crossing. Emerton can't get to it at the back post. And there is a goal. There is a goal from Nicky Ferenko, the former El Loco fireman. Did very little for the El Loco fire. Is he going to get another one? Nicky Ferenko again, 93 minutes, another game going to extra time. And Alcatraz have really came to life since half time. 5 bookings rather than 7 in total, as I said. And look at where those 9s have came from. Wow, we've done nothing, and all of a sudden the players have came to life. And actually, Nicky Ferenko has had 6 shots, 5 on target, and only converted 1. Just shows you what a bitch this game is at times, and the fact that we haven't changed anything for Alcatraz. But actually, that second 45, they look like league winners out of nowhere. And local fire really struggling to get hold of any of the ball in that second half from 60 minutes onwards. And it'll be interesting to see what Scotty does here, given that there's really only attacking options on the bench, and potentially maybe drop 2 of these back to give 2 EMCs and take the arrows off the MCs to give them a little bit more control in the middle of the pitch. Gerard may be coming over as a bit more of a conventional DMRC, but we will see what Scott wants to do. Clearly knows this squad, clearly has a really good idea of what he's doing, and we will see what he wants to do there in a sec. Is that another role, Scotty? Just confirm if that's another role or this change is coming. Oh, there we go. Change is coming. Brilliant. So Alan Smith for Mido and Gerard's arrow to AMR. Brilliant. Oh, attack midfield. Right, there we go. AMR. So all the way or there. Yeah, there. That makes sense based on what you're saying there, Scott. I'll just let you confirm that because it is one of the more stranger arrows, which is fine. Just there, mate. Just there's all right, yeah. I'm going to take that as a yes because that's not all the way, so that makes sense to me. As we will see who is the winner of this massive game at the bottom end. Oh, and there's Brett Emerton. Brett Emerton has scored a significant goal for the Alcatraz boys and got the win for them, and that really does now put them, what's that, 8 points ahead of the local fire. Have the local fire condemned themselves there with a little bit much attacking intent to potentially not qualifying for the playoffs? What a massive win for Hopkins's boys, with Vinny Kandaya getting the man of the match performance and Nicky Ferenko being probably the best performance we've seen him have all season. Okay, then that brings us to the confirms. Memphis Reigns ones each with Vikings. Alcatraz, which was a draw at full time and then went 3-2. Alcatraz. Des Moines, which was a 3-1 straight win. So we had three draws at 90 minutes and one draw at the end of extra time, which is pretty unique and pretty interesting. So we will jump to the cup games, and we will. What's it going to do here? What's it going to do here? There we go. Brilliant. Excellent. So we'll go over to the drivetrain because I just need to check on Savage's changes that he's just DM'd in. Schools moved back to SC for Edmundo. Edmundo Boya at AMC. LMC. Ah, right. I'm guessing, is there a new tactic file as well, Savage? Let me just check. And if everybody could just let me know that they're still able to hear us and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, no new tactic file. I'm guessing it's the same. Savage, if you can just give us a nod, that makes sense in relation to, yeah, brilliant, fantastic. And this is how they go. So Schools does get the Savage looks as though he's doing a stay right tonight. Schools does get the shout in FC, and obviously we're aware that Seattle are the only AI team in the competition, but they did of course knock out Des Moines Demons in that fantastic penalty shootout where the Des Moines Demons didn't score a penalty. So we'll see if there can be another giant killing in the final tonight. Oh, no penalty, early chance for the drivetrain, but no penalty given. 16 minutes. It is all silver and black text. Seattle under the caution. There is Scholes with his 5th goal of the season. What a shout that was. And there is Scholes with a brace from FC. Everything he's touching turns to magic at the minute in terms of Savage's tactic file. He is really putting himself amongst it. Matavicchio with a chance now, and this already looks really comprehensive. Thierry Henry puts it in the back of the net, but Mario Tagovailoa does go offside, and this is about as comprehensive as you can get from a human side against an AI side. Scores with two shots, 2 on target and 2 goals, with a 10 at half time, and Seattle absolutely shocking on the other side of it, although not as bad as you potentially expect. Savage with a really quick and clear as is, which is brilliant. Matavicchio scores 3-0. This is game over. 4-0. 10th goal of the season. Who got it? Marco Del Vecchio. And we'll just have a little look at condition. Savage may want to protect the likes of Henry here at this point, so we will just let him the chance to make some changes if he wants to get the likes of Shearer on and potentially Kenny Cunningham for a run out, because this is comprehensive as the drivetrain book their place in the first ever All-Star Atlantic Cup final. Is Savage going for a little bit of a morale boosting score here? 5-0 now. This is a schooling. Are you watching Des Moines? Are they going to get 6? Bortez with a big save there. Seattle could have had a consolation goal. Henry with a free kick, and they just put in the rebound. There is 6. Are they going to get 7? Feels as though we could. I was just about to say, if that attack was a goal, we could have got up to the 8, and that is pretty dominant. Paul Scholes with a man of the match performance, 3 10s in the starting 11, and 1 from Matavicchio, who is criminally underrated, I feel, in the world of champ. And congratulations on Mike Savage confirming his place as the first team into the first ever All-Star Atlantic Cup final. That brings us to our last game of the night, which is the second semi-final, and it is Pelham against the Dandies. This is how Dimble goes. Really, really strong 11 as he's built, and Agahawa just makes way for Figo onto that MR. Over at the Dandies, they do have to make a change. As we've said, there is a spate of bookings now building up for that Yeremis and Keane combination. And in fact, when one plays, the other suspended, it seems to at the moment. So Patrick Soglu comes in as that second MC. Yeremis back into the MC. And it is a competitive Dandy side that has been much better over the last couple of weeks. Best of luck to Dimble. You've had me number probably over the last couple of fixtures in Atlantic All Stars and also in terms of Super League. So yeah, hopefully we put up a better fight than we have done recently. Cafu with a half a chance and Mpenza with a chance there, but Pelham do look as though they've started better. Cafu scoops it over. He's getting a lot of the ball there on that right hand side is Cafu. But here comes Joe Cole. Chiotis with a big save. Again, Pelham putting on the pressure there, offside. Are we going to go to half time with a 0-0? Ronaldinho there. That'll be a dagger at the heart if he was to score. Oh, Hupia can't miss. But Chiotis does save it. Was that a Hupia can't miss? Hupia was first to the rebound. I've definitely seen a Hupia can't miss there. As Pelham look to have been the better side based on chances and also the text, in fairness. Cafu, chances aside, and then Penza header. Dandies really didn't create anything there of note. Pelham look fairly solid, no bookings to worry about, and just the front players struggling to get touches on the ball, although when they have popped up in the text, they have looked dangerous. Over at the Dandies, it's a 5 for Cafu with those missed chances and Simkoviak on a yellow card, which will be a slight worry. Dandies are a little bit light in that midfield position. Both sides will roll and we'll get to 60 minutes and we'll see who is going to get the goal. And Clive does hit the post, hits the woodwork. We get to 58 minutes. Jeremy's with a tactical foul there. And we still get to a point where Simkoviak's in the book and the game is even. And Cafu is still on a 5. I think we're going to try and cure that 5 with just a little bit more attacking intent. And we will put Ronaldo on for Mpenza. Over to the Pelham Pumas. Again, really impressive. A couple of 9s, I think, that were there at half time have maybe dropped just a little bit. So interesting to see if Figo makes way for the likes of Agahawa and if one of the strikers departs for Morientes. But you'd struggle to say that anybody deserves to be subbed based on those performances for Dimble. Are we going to go to extra time and a penalty shootout in this decider for the second place in at the cup final for the Dandies and the Pumas to join the drivetrain? No issues for conditions there. Clive for Morientes, and he will go best of luck, Dims, into the last half hour, mate. Who's going to get that 1 killer goal? It is Ronaldinho. Oh, and he's offside. A respite and second life. And they've went up the other end, and Constantino has scored. We're on 86 minutes. Other Dandies, oh, you fucker. Kaladze scores a league equalise. And there's Constantino. Is it offside? Yes! Sorry, Dims, but that is a daylight robbery, I feel. I think you were the better side for more or less all of that game. And Constantino has continued his unbelievable form over the last 10 games. And the Dandies joined the drive train in the final. Unlucky Dims, mate, there. Thought you were the better side, and I think we've stolen a playoff, stolen a final place there. Kaladze is the standout with a man of the match performance and a 9. And some of those 8s and 9s did drop from those forward players, despite their text dominance. Over at the Dandies, really not great in terms of ratings-wise. Constantino popping up with 2 big goals, and Penza with the assist for Ronaldo with an assist, and Jeremy's being fantastic in that DMC, probably making up for a lack of quality in the other MC positions. That does bring us to the conclusion. So we will have the final. Has it not been technically drawn yet? Let's just have a little look. We'll save it there. It's disappeared. Share screen, window. There we go. Give me 1 second, boys. Doesn't like sharing the screen when I save it for some reason. Let's just check that the final has been drawn. There we go. Dandies will be the home side against the drivetrain in the final, and that will be played on the 20th of October, so actually 2 months away. And in terms of the league, That is, wow, it's like 6 weeks after the season finishes. That's a little bit nuts. I will do a group pack straight away, get that into the group, and hopefully you can submit in time. Yeah, let's have it, Savage. Hopefully you can get it in time for the Sunday turnaround. Cheers for joining us tonight, lads. Appreciate your time, and up the All Stars.